Good morning. What's up, everybody? Little intro song, something I've been working on. Yeah. And today we're going to talk about chapter 8 and chapter 9 in the manual, and took the liberty of making a really cool notepad for everybody to kind of read into, and hopefully this is going to be a little bit like a guide from me to you on what this little guy's doing and the tricks that I'm using the most, right? So today I picked two really confusing concepts that it took me a long time to get together, and that's why I sat and made today's lesson plan. All right, let's get into it. Let's dig a little bit. So, good morning. Today is February. I think it's the 23rd. My watch died, so I don't know what day it is. But what we're looking at today is going to be exciting. We're looking at, I think it's the end of chapter 7, the beginning of chapter 8, and chapter 9, right? And so I kind of picked some of these to get us into what I do the most on this thing, and I think what really makes this device super shine, okay? And it took me a while to figure this out. Like, it was not immediate. So I'm going to save this one, and then I'm going to make a new one, and then I'm going to turn off the click. And I think I talked about this yesterday. And in what I do now is basically we're going to talk about making better sequences, like longer, more complex ones. And at the end of the 7th chapter, they talk about the bar button a lot. And this thing drove me crazy because I couldn't figure out a lot of stuff. I couldn't figure out how to edit between bars. I couldn't figure out how to switch bars. So this is hopefully going to be a little bit of how I do all of this. So let's say we go to the first track and I pick a drum set. And typically I pick the kit that I made, which is called Joseph's Kitchen. And then I actually load that into 2 or 3 of the drum sets so that I can use multiple sounds from that set. So to tell you how I set up, it's like I pick a drum set that I made, and that crappy set. It's literally my kitchen, and then it's my real drum set. So basically, and if anybody wants that sample pack, just reach out to me, right? So now I pick the kick, and in the first track, I would pick kick, right? Boom, boom, boom. And you're like, well, that's not a very long pattern. If you hold down bar and you hit the plus button, you can make them longer bars. So let's say we said 4 bars, right? And then what I just kind of figured out is if you tap through like this, it will actually go through the bars. So if you tap once, bar 1, bar 2, and again, I want to add a longer pattern. So then same thing, we're into bar 4, hopefully, right? So bar 1. So now, bar 1, bar 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so we're going to do that again on the snare drum part, right? And I'm picking the easiest beat that I can possibly make, right? So there, tap this button. So you tap to go to the second one if you made more. So let's do 4 bar, tap, number 2. And then in number 2, I kind of do this. Now, I remember that where these spacings go. You can tell by the colors where you're going to lay things. And then remember that if I just tap bar again, I go to 3. And then if I tap bar again, I'll be on the 4th bar, which is going to have the craziest. So now, and then bar 4. Right. All right, so now that we've done that, let's say in the hi-hat bar, that's this one. Yep, I got these hi-hats, and I draw this pattern, right? All right, so. Okay, now that's 1 bar. Now if I want to copy it, from what I understand, bar plus shift plus plus. So I just copied that to number 2. So hopefully, yeah, do you see? So shift, it's bar, shift, plus is how you copy what you've had. So now we just did that 4 times. If I tap, you can see that's on all 4. And then I'm going to modify some of them so it's not always the same thing. You know. Yeah, so now okay, so that's how you make a more complex 4-bar like drum beat over time, right? And usually into the 4th bar, to be honest, I load one of the cheesy ones they have because of the right. So now what we're going to have is this cheesy set on number 4. I'm going to make sure 4 bars plus 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 because that makes 4 bars. And now I'm going to live record. So I want that. So record. So there should be some cheesiness there. And turn off the record, and I'm going to put some reverb. And they're just tom-toms for accent. I didn't do anything for anything more than that, right? So that was the quickest way I could tell you guys to actually use the shift in the bar and to actually go, if you tap bar, it's how you go between the 4. Can you see it running between them? Yep. That I didn't know. You know, that was like a big one. And then the other thing now is going to be bar. You know, if you held bar and you just picked a number, we're on 2 right now, but that would be the length of the sequence. We're not going to change length. But we could have like a bass line that's in 14 while the rest of the pattern's in 16. You know, you can do things like that. And then pressing bar to step through the 4 bars is what I was just showing you before. Right, so these are my little notes, right? And then shift bar locks the bar on screen. I haven't had this successfully work. So supposedly if you did that, 3 would stay on screen. But like I still see it moving. So I don't know. Oh, it locks that on screen. Do you see that? Yeah, there we go. So if you want this to stay up on the screen, it's shift bar, and that'll keep it up. Now, when shift bar is up, basically these 4 knobs become a couple things. Like this becomes the amount of quantize, this becomes the amount of length, this becomes the amount of groove, and that groove has to do with what lettering you have inside your metronome. So groove would be like the swing in the track, you know what I mean? And again, if I did shift bar, it would hold it up there. And then shape, this is what I showed yesterday on stream, was like if I'm automating something and it's all jittery, if you do shape smooth, it'll smooth everything out, right? So let's take a look at kind of what's going on there. So we look how lock bar on screen. I covered that. I covered what the 4 knobs do when you hold down bar. And then the other thing is, don't forget, like if I hold down bar, I can clear pattern, clear notes, or clear everything. So you could clear the automation by doing that as well, right? So, all right, that was covering like what shift bar does and everything like that. So that's just a little bit easier to kind of see. Now, the thing that I just started learning is how to add step components into the actual sequence, not on step component track. So let's say we're on the bongo crap, and I want to make this note random, right? And that's the random step component. If I hold shift and I touch that note and I touch random, we have step component random. And you can choose like the amount of that, 3 octaves, 1 octave, you know. I didn't know this. Like once you're in a step component, you can choose up to 10 different ways the step component gets affected. So we're going to put a random step component, 5 steps, within 5 steps, and within 1 octave. So let's see what happens. And we'll go to another bar and do that again. We'll do random on every single note in, well, most of the notes that are in that. So it'll randomly change on some of these notes. So now the bongo, right? Every time we're on channel 4, it's kind of random. There's a cowbell that time. Yeah, cowbell again. That was neat. Rim shot, right? What's up, why not? Good morning. Hey, buddy. So, yeah, what we're working on right now is adding step components within the sequence. And I was talking about the way you can kind of roll through the bar. So do you see if you just tap bar, you can roll through the 4 bars that you have programmed? I didn't know that. You know, I was reading through the manual. I wanted to share what I've been reading. So I'm talking about shift bar right now as well, which locks the bar screen on screen. So if you wanted to change the swing and the groove, and you wanted to change the length of the notes, you could always change all that there, right? The other thing you can change inside a bar is the division. And I talked about this, but it's called track scaling in the manual. And that's the idea that you could do like half of the scale. You could do, which is over here, you can do the scale 1/3 of it or the 1/4 of the scale. So we talked about making sequences more exciting. I'm going to work on the bass line now. And I'm also going to work on what was in chapter 8.2. Now, this is step components. And this is what they said makes the difference between making very compelling sequences and just making boring sequences. Now, I don't know if I believe that, but let's see if we can work on a little bit of weirdness with the step components. So, on number 5, I'm going to make a bass line. And I've sampled a lot of fun stuff. Sorry.
You know, if it's only there for a day or two and then it leaves, if it's only there for a day or two. And
I love sampling people talking.
You were right. You were right.
Just so dramatic. Ah, yeah. Okay, so a bass that I made. I made that out of one of the engines, so I've been making a lot of presets, and here we go, and we're going to get ready to record the bass line to them. Right. And now to add a step component, they say shift, touch a note. We're going to touch a couple of them. Okay, and then we got to pick what step component we want. Right, so I'm going to pick a couple different things to see what happens. We're going to start with, let's see, I know some of these hold or ramp up. We're going to pick bend, right? And then you can pick the amount of bend, up or down, bump down. We'll do that one, so let's see. Yep, and I can hear them kind of bending. If I touch the ones that are a little bit lighter and I touch the bend, we can choose the amount. Random, down and up and down, right? And we're also going to add a step component to the end too. And we're going to pick this guy. Right? No, we'll pick this guy. Jump. Oh no, that stuck them. We don't want it there. Because that'll hold the sequence, right? Do you see that? Ah, tonality. There we go. right? So, and now what I want to do is copy the sequence. So this is the other shortcut I was talking about that I just learned. Hold the bar, shift plus. We just copied it to 2 bars. And now I'm going to make the funkier stuff happen on the second bar. I'm going to do more step components here. We're going to do, let's say this guy, which is not bend. Tonality we did, jump we did, parameter. Let's do component. Whoa, I turn on a lot. Sorry. Do you see how many you can have? You can just turn on all the step components to like one thing. That would make it like a mess. We're going to try to do parameter, and I'm going to pick 3. Let's see what happens. Nothing really. Sometimes I'm wondering what these step components kind of do, some of them, because I actually don't hear some of that. I know they say like mix them. I'm like, okay. But I don't know necessarily. Oh yeah, it kind of dipped a little there. All right. Yeah, you can hear it dips a little bit. It's not so bad there. So we put step components actively in the channel instead of on this other track, right? So, and we did it with the tom-toms, which sounded cool. So, and then I think I'm going to add a piano now. So I'm going to go keys. I'm going to be like piano. There's a piano. We're going to crank it. Okay, now these are hinge chords. The trick that I do here for super easy creativity, I call it hinge. The idea that I Open Studio helps me do this, but it's the first chord is this guy, which is A minor, and then I end up playing. Yes. Yeah, no, so the kit, uses the kit as the sound pool. That's 100% right? Why not? Yes. So if you do random notes with drums, that's kind of the fun in it. And I don't know if they have one that's dip out. They have this one that like holds a note. I think it's the hand. It could like actually hold a note every once in a while instead of always playing the note like, Electron has probability. So I think it's the same way, but you are 100% correct. It comes from the sound pool. That is right. So, So now the hinge chords that I'm working on, A minor, it's going to be A6, A4. You know what I mean? Super easy minor chords. Ready? So I'm going to hit record. The first one's A. And then I'm going to do 6, 4, A again. And then I did 7th at the end. But that's... Yep. And I guess the bass line sounds a little more interesting. We could have it change and see what happens. Let me pick one of the synths I sampled. It's like not loading the sound. What did I do? Oh, because it's in mono. Sorry. I'm going to pick one of their basses. I guess you can kind of hear it bending, right? I mean, it's hard, but you can. Maybe tame the bass a little. The bass sounds kind of cool in this one now. A little better now, the mix, because I shortened everything there. Alright, let's talk about doing something stupid on our lead synth. Alright, we're going to take it to the max now. I'm going to put a lead synth in, but I'm going to show you all. We'll get stupid. Okay, this is just A minor. I'm literally playing in the key of C. So if everybody knows what's going on, we've been covering some of the end of Chapter 7, most of the Chapter 8. And Chapter 8, what I'm talking about are step components. This confused me a lot. I'm talking about on the track. And why not just ask the question, too, that was just like, if you pick random on drums, it's literally going to pick from the sound pool of all the sample drums that are inside of that kit when we do random. So right now I'm going to do random on some lead sound, right? And I'm just going to play the drums with me and maybe the bass. Let's see if I can do this. Right? And we talked about making the bar extended. So you hold bar, you hit +4, so you see 4 bars. And then I'm going to hit live record. It's ready, it's armed, and here we go. We're going to do our take. Okay, so now, this is what I just recorded on 7. Right, and if we want to add some step components. We want to screw this up. So like on the first bar or the second bar, the fourth bar, we'll do the fourth bar, just like a drum fill. And all of the step components on the fourth bar, I'm going to really screw up. Okay, so I'm going to do, not jump. We're going to do tonality because I know I can hear the difference there. And that's going to make it not chromatic. Oh, I love it. And on the screen, we could say transpose, what this says, chord progression, ignore, and this would be transpose only, octave up. Let's do octave up and see what happens, because that's our lead, or we can do, that's a 5th up. And this is only on the 4th bar, so ready? So I don't understand. It got stuck. Oh, I see. I hit this one accidentally. That one's just a stick. I hate this one. I don't recommend. Not tonality. It's jump. Jump is like my least favorite one. We're going to try tonality again. And I did it a 5th up. Let's see what happens. Sorry about that. So here we go. Oh, yeah. Kind of jazzy, kind of sounded shitty, but we heard the effect, right? So shift, touch the step components, the ones that you marked, take that off. We can go to another one that's bend, and we could say we want to bend it up and down. So that would be like up and down every time. Let's see what happens now. This is on the lead only, so we're doing step components, right? Right, here they come. Yeah, they did that weird bend at the end. So we're going to leave that. It kind of sucked, but I'm going to leave it. I'm going to turn on the filter, and we're going to automate this guy real quick. So, again, if you hold record. You can hear the bend a lot better there, right? That was pretty cool. And then now I'm going to do this. I'm going to hold this down, and I'm going to smooth out my automation. Remember, I taught you, if you hold down bar, these 4 knobs, this is for smoothing, this is for groove, so you can add some groove to it, and then you got to make sure, you can swing it. That's inside your metronome. And then the other thing you do is once we're here, make sure that any of the shape is up, because I want to see this filter move smoothly. I don't want it to be all jittery. So a lot more 303-ish. The bends at the end are hysterical, right? Okay, so that was like a little bit of a lead, and then on this track, we're going to play a string, and then I'm just going to do one more thing. Okay, so. Yeah, okay, so make it 4 bars, remember? And then we're going to hit play. Okay, so I'm going to just do A and G major. And remember, if I hit arm record, it's ready. So the first chord I play, A minor, 2 bars of it, now G. Right, so super simple. Pew pew, I love it. Oh, wait. Did I mess that note up or something? Let's try it again. Oh, because it's muted. Sometimes I forget. So there we go, yes. And then we're going to listen again. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, this is a funny one, right? The mix of that lead synth is way too loud, so sorry about that. Okay, and pro tip, don't forget you can automate the volumes in the mixer. You can automate sends and returns in the mixer. If you go to the mixer section and hold the record button down, all of that is automatable, right? And then, okay, I talked about step components being on each track. And the key with step components, just so everybody hears me out, let's say during that snare drum, I want some step components, right? And I'm tapping through my 4 bars. At the end, if we want some random mess up here, if I hold shift and I touch these, I can say random. And don't forget, it'll pick. These numbers are like only, that's 2 steps, 3 octaves. That's 4 steps, 3 octaves. You know, this is the amount of randomness, you know, that's going to happen within here. So at the end of our snare bar, we're going to have random number 2, which is, it'll tell you on the screen. So remember, you got to be reading when you do your step component. You can touch up to 10 variations of that step component, right, of that one thing. So let's just try changing up our snare at the end of the bar. So this is going to be the last thing I do. Everybody, hey, thanks for tuning in today. Hopefully reading on what I wrote was a little bit easier, you know, to actually see what's going on in the manual. Don't forget, inside the manual, what we studied here, 8.3 has a full list of the step components, and 8.4 has a step component reference table. So if you're confused at what your step components are doing, make sure you go to these 2 places in the manual, and they actually have it listed very nicely written in the book. So I was kind of going through the manual this morning to bring everybody this. And next time we're going to cover the players, which was maestro, arpeggio, and hold. I'm going to cover that in my next stream, so be prepared. That'll be something we cover next. And yeah, let's listen to what's going on with the song. And again, thanks for tuning in, everybody. It did that click. That was funny as hell. Hey, no problem. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Why not? I appreciate you. Yeah, it was cymbals that time. The other thing that happens when y'all do these random things with the drums is it will actually choke some of the sounds randomly. If you hit a cymbal and then the next sound triggers, it actually chokes it off. This is indicative of the mono machine. So it sounds a lot like the old mono machine tricks. So play a lot with random step components and drums because you will get some amazing results, right? I'm going to save this one. And then let me just show you what I mean. More what I mean, and this is like not to be silly, but I'm gonna go after this. Let's say we just did like kick drum, snare drum, you know, hi-hats, right, on a track. So kick, snare, hi-hats, right, kick. Okay, so we make this beat. If I go random step components, this is not a lie, and I'm like boom, and I pick these guys, and I'm gonna say random. Literally, if you do this in reverb, it almost sounds like you worked so long on a track, but you didn't do anything. And then make a main beat underneath it. So watch how this will get so hard so fast. And I did this yesterday, just practicing. See what's happening. Sorry, that was bad. It's E is what. Yeah, so this is like how you can get it just going super fast. And then pick an arpeggiator, you know, just turn on. So this might show you why step components get really good, you know what I mean? Because that's why these drums are just live. Listen, I mean, because they're random. They're always going to keep changing. So don't forget, step components with drums. You see how fast we can get good stuff going. Hey, again, like I said, hey, thanks for everybody for tuning in. If you like the videos, hit like, hit subscribe. If you have comments, you want to know more. If you like the notes, if you don't like the notes, I'm going to start writing out the notes a lot better in the stream so that you can follow along with everything I'm doing. Today, if you look back at the stream, you will be able to follow along. And like I said, hey, I appreciate everybody out there. Enjoy the Sunday.